Good morning, Dana Rongione here. Uh, Today I want to talk about when life just doesn't go the way you think it will go, when everything just seems to be going crazy, when you're doing your best to follow the Lord's will and do things according to his plan and you think you're on the right track and on the right path, and then storms come and everything just gets turned upside down and it kind of leaves you questioning, am I doing the right thing? Am I in God's will? Am I doing what he wants me to do? Or have I misunderstood his will somehow and gotten off track? And it just makes us start to doubt ourselves, doubt our direction, doubt the Lord. But today I want to share with you an example in the Bible of a group of men, the disciples, who were following God's will exactly. They were doing exactly what God asked them to do, exactly what they were supposed to do, and they still met a storm. We say we don't believe in the health and wealth mentality that a lot of religions believe. That if you obey Jesus and you do right and everything, that you'll never be sick and you'll never be without money and you'll never face problems. And that's not true. And we say we don't believe that, but then sometimes we act like that's the way things should be. Well, I'm serving Jesus, so I shouldn't have trouble. But Jesus said in John 16:33, in this world ye shall have tribulation. And he was talking to believers. He said, you're going to have trouble, but he goes on to say, but be of good cheer, for I have overcome the world. He reminds us and makes it crystal clear that we will have trouble, but we're not going to go through it alone. And that's what today's story illustrates, is that even though the disciples faced a storm and thought they were facing it alone, at no point were they alone. And I would just want to kind of take this story and just break it down into its pieces and share with you what the Lord has laid on my heart today about facing storms and walking through them with Jesus. So if you'll look with me at Matthew chapter 14, Matthew 14, and we're going to start in verse 22. And straightway Jesus constrained his disciples to get into a ship and to go before him unto the other side, while he sent the multitudes away. And when he had sent the multitudes away, he went up into a mountain apart to pray. And when the evening was come, he was there alone. But the ship was now in the midst of the sea, tossed with waves, for the wind was contrary. And in the fourth watch of the night Jesus went unto them, walking on the sea. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, it is a spirit. And they cried out for fear. But straightway Jesus spake unto them, saying, be of good cheer, it is I. Be not afraid. And Peter answered him and said, Lord, if it be thou, bid me come unto thee on the water. And he said, come. And when Peter was come down out of the ship, he walked on the water to go to Jesus. And when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid. And beginning to sink, he cried, saying, Lord, save me. And immediately Jesus stretched forth his hand and caught him, and said unto him, O thou of little faith, wherefore didst thou doubt? And when they were come into the ship, the wind ceased. Then they that were in the ship came and worshipped him, saying, of a truth, thou art the Son of God. It's important to note where this story takes place, okay? It talks about in the first few verses that Jesus was sending away the multitudes. What multitudes? The multitude was the 5,000 men plus women and children that had gathered for the feeding of the 5,000. We all know that story. It's very familiar. I think even people that don't attend church know this story, how the people were there and they were listening to Jesus. And it got late into the day, and the disciples were like, they're hungry, send them home. And Jesus says, no, we'll feed them. And he took one little boy's lunch and fed 5,000 men, plus women and children. So probably somewhere in the ballpark of 1,500 people that day with one little boy's lunch. And not only that, but they took up 12 baskets full to have leftovers. So this story is taking place right on the heels of that. okay? They have just done this. These disciples have just witnessed God work this miracle, okay? Taking this little boy's lunch and multiplying it to feed all these people. And I imagine they took those 12 baskets full and loaded them into this fishing boat that they're in right now. So they have this visible reminder of what Jesus just did, a visible reminder of his power and of the miracles he can do. And yet, in the midst of the storm, it's easy to forget what God's already done in our lives.